Okay. So, guys, after listening to the recording about David, who is talking to his grandmother, and after answering these questions, now I think it's the time to discuss something new. Now, guys, at the end of the same page, we have here writing and we have a biography. Let's try to know about the meaning of biography, and we have to learn how to write a biography. The biography we have to discuss is on page 111. So let me scroll down to this page and let's learn. Someone is coming. How to write a biography. Ryan is coming. Okay. So this is 115, this is 114, 13, 12, and this is 111. Okay. Now, guys, if you notice that in the same unit, which is 7, this is a biography. First of all, what is the meaning of biography? And what is the difference between autobiography and biography? So this is autobiography. Let me write it down. Biography. And this is biography. Keep in mind, guys, please, that the meaning of autobiography is to write the story about you. It is to write your story. But if you want to write a story about someone else, this is biography. So this is the exact difference between biography and autobiography. So please, biography is the person when he or she is going to write the story about himself or herself. But biography, when someone is going to write not his or her story, but the story of someone else. Now, we have to discuss writing the biography, which is the writing of someone who isn't me, because I'm writing someone's story, as I told you, because this is the meaning of biography. So let's try to discuss this biography. This biography is about John F. I'm going to tell you absolutely the meaning of F. Kennedy. Absolutely, we have this biography. We have, you notice that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 paragraphs. Now, we have to arrange these paragraphs to be a logical story. Absolutely, number one is solved for us. But to do so, we have to read all the paragraphs about Kennedy. Then I'm going to give you this page. As a homework, you have to arrange ordering these paragraphs just to be a true biography. But to do so, absolutely, we have to read just to understand the story of Kennedy. Then, as I told you, this is going to be a homework just to arrange these paragraphs. Hiba, can you hear me?
Yes, teacher.
Please, I need you now to read paragraph number 1, which is A.
This was a huge tragedy, tragedy
Mhm.
for Joseph Sir, who had wanted his first son to become president. He now turned his attention to his second son, John. John wanted to please his father, and in 1952 he
Mhm.
was elected to the U.S. Senate.
Okay, thank you so much. How can I read this word?
Sir, S.R. Sir,
This is senior,
senior.
okay? Guys, this
Okay,
SR is senior, but this sorry, JR is junior, okay?
okay, okay.
So this is senior and this is junior. So this is the difference between senior and junior. This is it. This is the abbreviation, by the way. We have Joseph Senior and we have Joseph Junior. Okay? Thank you so much, Hiba. Now I want to ask Maisa. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Please, can you read paragraph B?
U.S. President John شو هاي؟
Fitzgerald.
Okay, Kennedy. JFK was born on May 29, 1917. He was the second of 9 children in a wealthy and powerful American family. His father, Joseph, was the U.S. ambassador of Britain.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, okay. And his grandfather was a mayor of Boston. Despite all the money and fame, John's life was not easy.
Okay, that's amazing. How can I read this name again?
صعب.
I know. By the way, Maisa, you can pronounce this E as A. So I can say Fitzgerald.
Okay, Fitzgerald.
Yes, amazing. What about this one?
Boston.
Boston, exactly. Guys, this is John. This is the abbreviation of John. This is J. This
Okay.
Fitzgerald, this is F. And this is Kennedy, this is K. This is the abbreviation of the full name, okay?
Okay.
Thank you, Maisa. That's amazing. Raed, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Please, can you read paragraph C?
Yes. The following year, John joined the Navy and fought in World War. He almost died when his boat sank in 1943. Then, in 1944, his older brother Joseph Jr.
Yes.
Was tragically killed in a military plane crash.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's amazing. How can I read this word, Raed?
Dead.
Okay. What about this word? Let me write it for you. D-E-A-D. How can I read this one? Can you see it?
Dead. كمان.
Yeah. This is dead. This is dead, and this is an adjective. But this is a verb. This is died.
Okay, died.
Yeah, died, guys, is the past of die. Okay? So he almost died when his boat sank. How can I read this
And the
word?
plane crash.
Thank you so much, Raed. Now let me ask Ryan, can you hear me?
Yes, Mr.
Please, now I need you to read paragraph D.
Yes, Mr. As a child, he was often sick and had to miss months of school. However, he was a clever and popular student. His high school classmates voted him most likely to become a president. He graduated from Harvard University in 1940.
That is amazing. Thank you so much. That's really great. Now let's go back to Hiba.
Yes.
Please read paragraph E.
However, even as president, tragedy continued to follow JFK. In August 1963, his son Bartik died 2 days after birth, and on November 22, 1963, John F. Kennedy was assassinated.
This is
Kennedy
assassinated.
Assa
Assassinated.
assassinated,
Yes.
and today millions of Americans remember what they were doing on that day.
Okay, thank you so much. But you skipped this line. Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas, Texas. The nation was shocked, and even today, millions of Americans remember.
Okay.
Mhm. Okay, how can I read this name?
Patrick,
Patrick.
Patrick,
Yes, please try to check the writing. What about this word?
birth,
It's birth. B.
birth,
It's not P, but B. B. What about this name again?
Kennedy,
Kennedy, exactly. And this word again,
assass assassinated,
assassinated.
assassinated.
Yeah, it's from assassin. Guys, assassinated is to be killed by someone else. Thank you so much, Hiba. Now, Maisa, can you hear me?
Yes.
Please, paragraph F.
Okay. Around the time of John Jr.'s birth, يعني. Okay,
Mm.
JFK became a president. He was a popular young leader during an important time in American history. Events during his presidency included the Cube Missile,
Missile
okay, crisis, okay,
rockets.
the building of the Berlin Wall, and the beginning of the space race.
Yeah, amazing. How can I read this word, Maisa?
Cuban,
Cuban. It's from Cuba. What about this word?
missile?
Missile. It's a rocket.
Okay.
What about this one?
Crisis.
Crisis.
Crisis, okay.
Yes,
Crisis.
thank you. What about this country?
Berlin.
Yes, it's Berlin. Thank you so much, Maisa. Finally, Raed, can you hear me? Raed, hello.
Yes, I can.
Yeah, please, paragraph. The final one, which is G.
Okay. A year later, in 1953, he married Jacqueline Bouvier. In another tragedy, their first child died at birth in 1956. However, the couple had a daughter, Caroline, in 1957. In 1960, they had a son, John Jr.
Yeah, thank you so much, Raed. That's amazing. By the way, guys, about this name, this is Bouvier. Absolutely, guys, we don't have a certain rule to follow just to be able to pronounce the names. This is something normal to not be able to pronounce the names correctly because the cultures are different. Okay, guys, so this is the story of John F. Kennedy. Now, I need you at home, please, when I upload the video on YouTube, to pause the video and try to read the paragraphs carefully and to arrange them according to the correct order. This is paragraph number 1, by the way. Now I have to search to the paragraph number 2, 3, 4, 5, till the end, just to arrange the story to be logical. Now, to do so, guys, correctly, please, you have to be careful about the dates. Notice this date, for example, this date, this date, this date. So be careful about the dates because the arrangement of the events should be logical. I cannot, for example, write this paragraph, which is talking about this date, then just to talk about this date, for example, or this date. So be careful about the dates. And even you have to be careful about the names, because here we have Joseph Jr. And here, guys, we have John Jr. So be careful about the names and be careful about the dates, as I told you, just to be able to arrange the story. I'm going to give you this story as a homework just to read it carefully and to be able to arrange this story, which is about paragraphs. This is called biography. Now, after finishing arranging this or these paragraphs, please take a clear picture about the arrangement of the paragraphs and send the images to Alamuddin because he is going to send the pictures to me back. After that, just to be able to learn how to write a biography, we have this page, which is another homework. Now, this homework is about the life of John F. Kennedy's daughter, who is Carolyn. Now, let's use the information that we have here to write a biography. Now, this is the information that I have. Now, after arranging the paragraphs that I told you about Kennedy, and then we have to write a biography about Carolyn. Now, this is the information that is going to be shown on the screen just to help you to write a biography. So we notice that Carolyn born in November the 27th, 1957, only surviving child of President John F. Kennedy. Now, brother John F. K. Jr., born in 1960, aged just 5 in 1963. Her father assassinated in, you have to complete, after father's death, moved from Washington to New York City with mother, grew up there. Then in this date, 1968, Uncle Robert F. Kennedy also assassinated. As I told you guys, I have to be careful about the dates. I have to arrange the events according to the correct dates just to be able to write a correct biography. Now, later in 1968, mother married. Guys, these are not complete sentences. Absolutely, I have to write complete sentences. We married, sorry, a Greek billionaire, Aristotle Onassis. Another uncle who is Ted Kennedy almost died in a car crash in 1969. We have 1979 graduated from Harvard University. 1980 started to work in the film and TV department of the Metropolitan Museum of Art, met her husband there. Then we have married Edwin in 1986. 3 children, absolutely, she has 3 children, still alive or still lives in New York City. Her mother died in 1994, aged 64, has had, this is present perfect, many tragedies in her life. May the 19th, 1999, a brother Joe Jr. and his wife Carolyn died in a flying accident. Finally, in this date, which is 2008, worked with Barack Obama in the US presidential election campaign. So, please, guys, after arranging the paragraphs that we have here, now you have to take a look at this biography again, just to be able to write a complete another biography about Carolyn. Now, if you need help, you can use Google just to extract the correct information. After that, I know that this is something hard, but you have to learn how to write a biography. After finishing writing this biography, now you have to do a complete one, your own. I mean, we have to research information about a famous person you know. Maybe this person is still alive or maybe he's dead. That interests you. You have to make notes as the notes that we have here, and we have to write now a complete biography. So please, we have to do them one by one. Don't forget that. Number 1, I have to arrange the correct paragraphs according to the correct arrangement. This is chronological order. And then here I have to write this biography about Carolyn. Then I have to do a complete one myself. And absolutely, it's about a person you know, a famous person you know. Maybe this person is still alive, or maybe he's dead. When you finish, guys, the homework, please again, take a clear picture using your phone, send the images to Alamuddin, and he's going to send the images to me back. Please don't send anything to the group, send them private. Okay, so this is about
And
biography. Mm,
sir,
yes,
we will send the homework to Alamuddin or for
please.
you.
Or to me, yes. I think it's a good idea. Yes, you have my number now. You can send them to me directly, but do this private, please, privately.
Okay, of course.
Guys, we have the whole next week. You have enough time, don't worry. But absolutely now, we have to learn how to write a biography. When you finish, absolutely, we have to correct everything in the class just to be able to learn from your mistakes, if any. Okay? Now I think it's the time just to go back to the point that we have stopped. Let me again scroll down to the page that we have stopped. Okay. So now I can say that we have finished talking about this page. Now let's take a look at the second or the next page. This is about everyday English. Now agree with me, or maybe you don't agree with me. If you want to agree with me, or maybe you don't agree with me, you have to use the question tags. Now, what is the question tag? What do I mean by question tag? And how can I use the question tag? Let's take a look at these two examples. Let me explain the usage of the question tag, then we can discuss this page. Notice this sentence, for example, is saying, it's a lovely day, isn't it? So notice that this is a question. But why did I write isn't it? Why aren't they, for example? Now the next information or sentence that we have, we all love days like this, don't we? So the same question, which is saying, why did I write don't we? Why aren't we, for example, or hadn't we? Okay, this is, guys, the question tag. Let me open a new page. Let me write the question tag because this is extremely important. The question tag is one of the most important lessons in level 4. So please, you have to listen to me carefully just to be able to know how to write the question tag. Guys, sometimes the question tag is not for looking, I mean, you are not looking for the answer because, to be honest, you already know the answer. For example, let me give you an example just to understand the information that I'm saying. Let's imagine that Ryan bought new jeans. Okay. Now, Ryan wants to try these jeans on. After trying the jeans on, she wants to ask her sister. Okay. Now, Ryan is going to ask her sister, are these good? I'm talking about the jeans. Are they good? Are these jeans good? So, or maybe Ryan is going to say, these jeans are amazing. Aren't they? Aren't they? Okay. Now you notice, guys, this is question tag. This is the question tag. Amazing. Aren't they? Okay. Now you notice, guys, that Ryan knows the answer. She already knows the answer. She knows that these jeans are really amazing. She is not waiting for her sister to say, no, these jeans are not beautiful. She knows that her sister is going to say yes. So the question tag is not completely to look for the answer, but the main goal of the question tag is to make you speak, to make you talk, not to stop speaking at all. This is number one. Number two, I cannot write the question tag in only one alone. I cannot write it alone. All the time, I have to attach the question tag with the statement or sentence. I mean, I cannot say aren't they alone. This is not a complete question. All the time, the question tag should be attached with the sentence before. Now, the question is, why did I say aren't they? Why did I use the verb are, and why did I use the pronoun they? Let's take a look at the rules that we have concerning the question tags, because you have to learn how to use the question tags correctly. Let me open the lesson about the question tag. It's not that hard. It's really easy, but absolutely this lesson is really important. Okay. These 2 pages, guys, are talking about the complete lesson of the question tag. Let me show you the rules. Rule number 1. Notice that here, if I want to say you are a student, first of all, this sentence is, or this statement is positive. It is not negative. I don't have negative word like never, rarely, for example. Now, if the statement is positive, you have to write the negative in the question tag. You have to write not. Now, if the statement is negative, I mean you have not, for example, you are not a student, you don't have to repeat the not in the question tag. This is rule number 1. Is everything clear to now?
Yes, Mr.
Okay. Now let's take a look at rule number 2. Rule number 2, guys, I have to stick with the verb that I want to use. What is the verb that I used? Verb to be is, was, were. Now I have to stick with the verb. I have to write the same verb. Notice this is this is this is, this is, this is was, this is was, this is where, this is were. Okay, so I didn't change the verb at all. This is number 2. Is everything clear till now?
Yes.
Okay. Now, rule number 3, I have to stick with the pronoun. I don't have to change the pronoun that is used in the beginning at all. Notice you, he again, they. So I don't have to change the pronouns. The only exception you have to write the pronouns is when we have names. For example, if I want to say John is very busy. Now, if you want to say John is very busy, I cannot say isn't John. Don't repeat the names in the question tags. The question tags don't accept the names at all. All the time you have to write the pronouns. So you have to replace the names or nouns with the pronouns. Because John is a man, I have to write he. Now, if we have Sarah, for example, instead of John, I have to replace it with she. So please, the question tag doesn't accept the nouns at all. All the time I have to write pronouns. If I have both of them, I mean Sarah and John, I have to replace them with the pronoun what? They. Okay?
Okay.
So this is really important. Let me show you the next example, the next page, if we have negative. So notice you are not, you aren't a teacher. Are you? So notice because the sentence is negative, this is the negative, I didn't repeat the negative in the question tag. And in the previous page, because the sentence is positive, I don't have negative, I have to write the negative. But all the time, the negative, which is not all the time, should be written in abbreviation. I mean, don't write not like this. The not should be written in abbreviation like this, please. The question tag doesn't accept the not as a complete word. You have to write the contracted not. Okay? Is that
Okay.
okay? So
Okay.
notice that because I have verb to be, I have to repeat the verb to be. Notice that I have modal verb will, would, can, could, shall, should, may, might, must. I have to stick with the modal verb. I don't have to change the modal verb at all. But please, you have to be careful about will. because will plus not, it should be what? Want. Okay, so want is the abbreviation of will not, and because I cannot write will not, I have to write the not in abbreviation or contracted. I have to write want like this. Okay, is that clear till now?
Yes.
So please, again, let me recap. If I have verb to be, I have to stick with the verb. I have to write verb to be. If I have modal verb, I have to stick with the verb. I have to write modal verb. Now, what if I have main verb? Main verb like run, speak, eat, drink, watch, walk, talk. All these verbs are called main verbs. Now, if you have main verbs, be careful because you have to write do, does, did. Let's take a look at this example. This example is saying you speak English. Notice that the main verb is speak. And speak is written in the simple present. So I have to write do. And absolutely you takes do. I cannot use does with you, for example. And because the statement is positive, I have to write negative. And this is you, this is you. So you speak English, don't you? أليس كذلك? Okay. Now, this is the example about does. Notice he studies Spanish. Absolutely, because we have he and he takes does. He doesn't take do at all. Because he doesn't take to do, I have to use does. So I have to say he studies Spanish, doesn't he? Why? Because the main verb is studies. This is simple present. Now, if the sentence or the verb is in the simple past, notice studied, you have to use did. You studied for the test, didn't you? Absolutely. If they are negative, you have to write the question tag, which is in positive formation, because notice the example is saying you don't speak French. Do you? You didn't study for the test. Did you? Okay, guys? Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay, now listen to the final rule. The final rule is the most important rule in the question tags, and 80% of the students commit this horrible mistake. Let's take a look at this example. Notice that you have studied all week, haven't you? Listen to me carefully. If you want to use the verb to have, like have, has, had, this is the verb to have. Now, if the verb to have is auxiliary, not the main verb, notice that I have another verb with have, has, had. Notice that I have studied, another verb. Arrived, this is the main verb. Because we have the main verb, the have, had is auxiliary, not the main verb. Now, if have, has, had is auxiliary, I have to stick with the same verb. Notice have. But if the have, has, had is the main verb, I only have has, have, or for example, or has. For example, I have a house. Notice this is I, this is have, this is house. If you want to say I have a house, we notice that the only verb that we have is have. And because have is a main verb, not auxiliary, don't repeat it the same. You have to use do, does, did. Please be careful. So if you want to say I have a house, I have to say don't I. So please, she has a house, doesn't she? She had a house, didn't she? So please be careful about the verb to have because this is really important. Again, if the verb to have is auxiliary, not the main verb, because I have another verb, you have to stick with the same verb. I have to repeat the same verb. But if you have only the verb to have only one, I mean, as a main verb, you have to use do, does, did immediately. Okay? Is that clear, guys? Okay. Now, the final rule is talking about exceptions. For example, guys, if you have for example, I am late, I have to say and I, this is the normal one. But the verb doesn't accept the abbreviation Because the verb doesn't accept the abbreviation, I cannot say amn't I. I have to say aren't I. This is the first exception. Be careful about this exception. Okay? Now, the next exception that we have, let's go. Let's go home. If you have let's, you have to replace it with shall. Why? Because let's is about let us. Let us. And because it's talking about us, I have to say we. So let's go home, shall we? Okay, guys?
Okay,
And
teacher.
exactly. One final exception is nobody or nothing.